Good afternoon. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Friday night to everybody. Let's see who's in the chat. Now listen, there is no structure to this stream. This is a Q&A session. Friday night beer hangout. No wine coolers permitted. Whiskey's permitted though. If you do have that. That's allowed. Ask me anything. Listen, there's two ways this can go tonight. This could be a 5-minute stream, or it could be an hour-long stream. And that's going to be all up to you, because I have nothing planned but answering your questions. So if you want to argue, we can do that. If you want to chat about football, we can do that. We'll talk about your favorite music group. As long as I know who it is, as long as it's anybody that's in the past 20 years, or movies, whatever. I just got done watching a movie with my wife before I came on here. That's what I was doing literally like 5 minutes ago. Terrible movie. This is how bad the movie was. I don't even know the name of the movie, but it had Melissa McCarthy, if you know who that is, the comedian, in it. And it was about her getting a divorce and going back to college for her senior year. But her daughter was a freshman at it was so bad. That's how bad it was. I was tuned out. Clemson Carson, good afternoon to you, sir. Dondre Crawford, sorry. What's good, Pete? What's up, Dondre? Jalen Hurts, roll tide, roll. Tomorrow makes 36 years since Bear Bryant died. R.I.P. Bear. Of course, wasn't even close to being born yet. Yeah, I was born when he died. But yeah, R.I.P. Bear, I guess. Go 1330, what's up, man? Irish Panther, what's up, sir? George says, I was going to watch Michigan-Ohio State wrestling on the Big Ten channel, or Michigan-Indiana on ESPN. When I saw the beer drinkers, yeah, thank you, sir, for joining us. Boilermakers, hello, everybody. Hello, Boilermakers. Tiger Nation, what's up? Bradley Aarons is in the house. Hey, Pete. I haven't been on since you won the Natty. Congrats. Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. The new Miami says hi. Hi. Andrew's in the house. Haven't been on for a while. How are you, Pete? Well, I am amazing and fantastic. How are you? I guess is the more important question. Duck Empire. Hey, bro, go Ducks. Duck Empire, I'll be getting with you, sir, about coming on to talk about your Oregon Ducks. Jalen Hurts, Leonard Skinner. Oh, that's timeless, sir. So good choice there. Then the new Miami asks, will Clemson have anyone to challenge them in the ACC? My first guess would be to say no. Can you think of somebody that can challenge Clemson in the ACC next year? I would probably say the only one that even has a chance would be Miami, and that would be a one-game situation. But other than that, probably not. Boilermakers Forever says Metallica. Oh, well, come on, man. Of course. Of course, Metallica. NASA CGI Snake. What's up, Pete and fam? Tiger Nation here. Hold on. I just lost my place. Tiger Nation, here's your first question, Pete. If a Carolina Gamecock couple got caught smoking meth and making out, but were also sister and brother, would I be surprised? No. And I got to be honest, that has nothing to do with them being Gamecocks. I wouldn't be surprised. Do you watch Cops? Or what's the new show on TV now that everyone watches? Live PD. If anybody watches Live PD, because that's like the only thing that's on between like midnight and 3 in the morning that anybody cares about, unless you're watching some shit you're not supposed to be watching, right? But how many of those episodes are in Columbia, South Carolina? I I think the headquarters for Live PD is in Columbia, South Carolina. So, no, the answer is no. I would not be surprised. I'm being a little harsh on the Pac-12, but you know what happens every time you make it to the title game. You just get embarrassed. You can't play with them big boys. The Pac-12 title, what are you talking about? When was the last time the Pac-12 was in the playoff? Well, let's see. So Oregon made it. Was that like the second? That was the second year of the playoffs. So that had to have been 2015. And Oregon beat the brakes off of Florida State. That was Jameis Winston's last year, and then they got blown out by Ohio State in the Natty. But yeah. George says Oregon had the best team they ever had and played against Auburn. What happened? That wasn't this year. Listen, I think Oregon's going to be the best team in the Pac-12 this year. Somebody's calling me on the phone here. Don't they know this is the beer live stream with Pete? Stop calling me. No, I think Oregon's going to be the best team in the Pac-12 this year. I mean, you see that Cliff Kingsbury got the job, and he skated within 3 minutes of being hired there, and went and took the job at Arizona, and which I think is going to probably be a disaster. But who knows? I mean, who knows? But then what's that kid's name that decommitted? I mean, this is how bad things are at Southern Cal. They're always in a top 10 recruiting class because they're Southern Cal, and they basically run the West Coast as far as recruiting goes. Until this year, I mean, Oregon's even higher than they are, much higher than they are this year. But this kid skates after 3 weeks, man, of being enrolled in the school. And they gave this kid a waiver already, from what I'm hearing. The reason they did that was because of the Cliff Kingsbury thing. I think the reason he committed there was because of Cliff Kingsbury, and when Cliff Kingsbury backed out, then they gave this kid a hardship waiver or whatever. I don't know. Here's the bottom line. Oregon is going to be legit next year, and the Pac-12 is terrible from top to bottom. I mean, you have Washington's good, Oregon's good, Southern Cal. I'm not a believer in Southern Cal. So other than that, I mean, who else is there? It's sort of like the ACC right now. You got Clemson and everybody else. Now, obviously, Clemson's on a whole nother level than somebody like Oregon, but I mean, who's going to compete with Oregon? I think Oregon's going to make the playoff next year. That's my bold prediction. Bradley Aaron says, I love Live PD. Yeah, Live PD is, if you remember the show Cops from the 90s, it's Cops but better. I mean, it's better. Who's better, Pete? Tua or Tulia? Well, I'm assuming when you're asking who Tulia is that his younger brother? I mean, Tua. I mean, I don't know anything about Tulia other than that he's Tua's younger brother. That's basically what he's got going for him. I mean, I don't know anything about the kid. I'm sure he's a great player. Otherwise, he would not be recruited or signed with Alabama. But let's be real here. Tua has won, and won at a high level. And Tulia, is that how you say his name? Hasn't. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe hell, he might be the best quarterback in the history of football. I honestly have no idea. I don't know anything about him. Have I seen highlights? No. Not a single one. Talia. That's how you say it? Okay, Talia. Luke Huffaker. Huffaker? I'm going to go with Huffaker. Pigskin Pete. Did you know that Dabo Sweeney told Justin Ross that Nick Saban works out naked in recruiting last year? Adam G in the house. Good afternoon to you, sir. That's a pretty big beer. Oh, yes, it is. It's actually, well, 2 beers. Officially, I guess. Top 3 Heisman finalists next year. I got Trevor Lawrence, Tua, and Jalen. That's actually a pretty solid top 3, Andrew. I think I'd agree with you. Listen, I don't think Jalen's going to win the Heisman. I think Jalen will have a lot of success at Oklahoma. I think Jalen's a very good player. I don't think Jalen is a Heisman caliber quarterback, though. But Tua and Trevor, obviously the top of the list. Listen, if it were up to me, I'd love to see running backs get more love as far as the Heisman goes. Defensive players, especially defensive ends, get more love. It's not going to happen, though. So it's a quarterback award at this point. It just is what it is. And I think if you're talking about the best quarterbacks in the country, Tua and Trevor have to be at the top of the list. We'll see, though. I just don't think Jalen Hurts is going to be in the conversation. But hell, who knows? I could be wrong. You rock rubber ramp runners make me sick, says Jalen Hurts. Well, I'm sure we do. I mean, after that complete and utter ass whooping that we saw on January 7th, 2019, if I were an Alabama fan, I'd be sick of it too. So I feel your pain. I mean, I don't care, but I feel it. Clemson Carson says Justin Ross is still giving Nick Saban and Alabama nightmares to this day. Well, they'll continue to have nightmares about it until the beginning of next season. SEC Dog says Lawrence wins the Heisman. I would have to. I mean, he's at the top of everybody's list for a reason. And then he goes on to say maybe twice. Listen, I hope you're right. That's as far as I'm going to go with that. Andrew, I don't think he will be. I don't think he will win either. But I couldn't think of anyone else to go in there, honestly. Tiger Nation, hey Hurts. Okay, now I'm gonna. Watch out for Justin Fields at Ohio State, says Bradley Aarons. When? And are you talking about in 2019? Listen, I think Justin Fields is going to be a great player. I think he's going to a great situation at Ohio State. I mean, there's not 4 or 5 schools in America that have more talent on their roster from top to bottom than Ohio State does. Here's the thing about Ohio State you have to be careful about. They have a new coach, and I tend to piss off Ohio State fans. I mean, I couldn't be more complimentary about Ohio State's roster and their program than I am. But somehow, I still this is the same thing that happens with Alabama fans. I couldn't be more complimentary about their program and their roster year after year after year. But somehow, if you say anything, I'm talking about anything slightly, possibly negative about one single player or one single situation about their program, they freak out and get defensive. Justin Fields has not proven that he can do anything. If Justin Fields was as great as everybody says he is, which I think he can be, but hasn't proven it yet, then he would have been the starter at Georgia last year. Because Jake Fromm is a very good quarterback, but he's not great. Jake Fromm will never be drafted in the NFL. Well, I take that back. Jake Fromm probably will be drafted in the NFL, probably in the 5th or 6th round. Jake Fromm will never be a starter in the NFL. He does not have an NFL arm. Just go watch him. Has anybody seen Jake Fromm throw a football? He's not an NFL arm, period. He's a great athlete and an amazing fisherman. I'm sure he can hunt pretty good too. I don't know. I've never seen him shoot a deer. I've never seen him shoot a bow, rifle. I mean, as far as trout goes, I mean, this guy's got it nailed. He doesn't have an NFL arm. So if Justin Fields was so amazing, then he would have taken Fromm's job. Now, how much of that has to do with the fact that Georgia did not develop him or use him right? It may not be Fields' fault in the first place. Maybe Ryan Day can do that. Maybe Ryan Day is the quarterback whisperer that we all thought he could be. Who knows? If Fields is going to win the Heisman, it sure as hell ain't going to be next year. Maybe the year after that. Boilermaker Forever. Hey, Pete, realistically, with how Purdue's been recruiting and Jeff Brom being a great coach, could Purdue contend for the Big Ten soon? Oh, hold on. Hold on. I need a drink for that. Boilermakers Forever. How do I put this? Will Purdue contend for the Big Ten soon? How do I put this? No. I was trying to find a way to put that lightly to you, but the answer is no. So, Tate Martell is an a-hole. Andrew says. I agree. I mean, I don't know Tate Martell from a hole in the wall, but every interview I've ever seen with the kid, he seems like an a-hole. So until he can show me something different, then yeah, I think he's an a-hole too. Oregon better beat Auburn. I don't want to hear those moron Tiger fans say Bo Nix is the next Cam. Oh, Jesus. Duck Empire says, I hate Ohio State and the fans of Ohio State. I have some really good friends that are Ohio State fans, so I don't hate Ohio State fans. Well, at least not the ones I know. Those are good people. But in general, I see what you're saying. What's up, Alan V? Says, good morning, Pete and friends. Good afternoon to you, sir. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. Otherwise, you would not be here. And, of course, you are here. And I happen to know that you are amazing and fantastic. Watch out for Tennessee. This is Luke Huffaker. Watch out for Tennessee. Jarrett Garantano will have a surprise breakout season. Listen, I agree. I think the team to look out for, well, there's two teams in particular in the SEC East to look out for. The two are Tennessee and Florida. Obviously, I'm putting Florida ahead of Tennessee just because they're further ahead in recruiting and everything else in the program. Now, Tennessee had a great recruiting year this year if it ends the way they're saying it's going to end. And, but look, I think Tennessee's another 2 years away from competing. So, but Garantano's, he's good, but not great. He's tough, though. That's for sure. T asks, opinion on LSU's offense going into 2019. Now, that's a great question, T. Great question. I'm glad you brought it up. I don't think you're going to like my answer, though. Now, if you'd have structured that question in a different manner, if you'd have structured that question in the way of saying, thoughts on LSU's team going into 2019, but you didn't. You said thoughts on LSU's offense going into 2019. And listen, you might be able to tell me something I don't know. I mean, you can help me out here, buddy, but I'm not a big believer in LSU's offense, and why would I be? Have you seen LSU's offense for the past, 15 years? Who's the last quarterback for LSU that was great? Don't tell me Zach Mettenberger. Don't do it. I believe in LSU's defense always. They've always relied on the running game, but since Fournette and Geis have gone, I mean, listen, I don't even know the name of the LSU's running back. That tells you where that went. And what's his face? The quarterback. No, he's not the guy. What's up, Billy Dawson? Dennis Wilson says, Pigskin Pete, Tate Martell is going to show you in the Rock Rubber Ramp Runner Nation. Dennis Wilson, weren't you the same guy who was on here, I don't know, all season long telling me how terrible Ohio State was? Now you got their backup quarterback, and you're acting like you're going to win the ACC now? Stop it, sir. Let's be real here. Tate Martell might be the greatest quarterback to ever come through Miami in the past 20 years. That's not hard. But he is the backup quarterback from Ohio State. You know that, right? The backup. I mean, Justin Fields hasn't thrown 15 passes in his college career. He gets signed at Ohio State, and Tate Martell runs like a chicken with his head cut off down to Miami. And why did he go to Miami? Gee, I don't know. Maybe because the quarterbacks there give him absolutely no competition. That's how bad the quarterback play is at Miami. But listen, I'll be rooting for you, sir. Maybe you can score more than an average of 20 points a game in the ACC Coastal, which is probably the worst division in all of football. Please do that for me. Please. 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 For my sanity, do that. I'm going to have to end up deleting my YouTube channel if Tate Martell doesn't work out. All the eggs I put in the ACC basket on this channel. You guys are letting me down. Clemson Carson. Pete, will you have on Uncle Lou anytime soon? I don't know. I don't want to divulge too much information. But listen, let's put it this way. There's a very good possibility that you could see me and Uncle Lou collaborate in one way or another in the near future. I'm just going to leave it at that. LSU is returning every offensive starter besides their left guard. Listen, I know you're an LSU fan, and God bless you, sir. Is there anybody besides Joe Burrow on that offense that you're going to tell me about? Because I don't care if you have. Here's what LSU's done over the past decade. I mean, they've done nothing more than have Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis. I mean, on the same team, they had Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry and Zach Mettenberger. That was the quarterback at the time. Nobody cared. Nobody knew who Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry were in college. You know why? Because their offense was terrible. But when they went to the NFL, they became superstars. Joe Burrow is not that good. I'm sorry, he's just not. And so who's the other guy? Let me ask you this question. Why can't LSU recruit an elite quarterback? I need to know this. It's a question that's been boggling my mind since Janet Jackson showed her tit at the Super Bowl. Jamarcus Allen? Oh, you mean Jamarcus Russell? Oh, Lord. Boilermaker Forever says, I want a good quarterback at Purdue. We've got so many wide receivers. Boilermakers Forever, I'm going to have you on the show to talk about Purdue, if you're up for it, if you can do that. Because I really can't talk intelligently enough about Purdue football to make an educated guess on that. All I can tell you is that I know the people at Purdue are very happy that Jeff Brom decided to stay there instead of going back to Lousville, his alma mater, but I have a feeling that next year people are going to be extremely disappointed with Purdue fans. T says, LSU's offense will surprise all of you. Just watch Joe Burrow. We'll know the offense 100%. 2 5-star wide receivers will be sophomores, 4 senior wide receivers, number 1 running back in 2019 class, and returning every other starter. Maybe, listen, you might be right. What do I know? Derek Ives. Good afternoon to you, sir. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. Otherwise, you would not be here. Favorite coach not named Dabo? Now, this is a good question. Now, this is a great question, actually. I would have to ask you a caveat to that, though, sir. Favorite coach as far as football goes or as far as, like, entertainment goes? Because it's 2 different things. I'll give you both. Let's do both, just for the hell of it, right? We've got nothing else to do. My favorite coach in all of football, and it's not even close, is Mike Leach from Washington State. Not as far as football goes. I'm just talking about as far as entertainment goes. I could literally open up the computer and go on YouTube or wherever else and search Mike Leach videos and watch him talk about aliens and Bigfoot and marriage and whatever for hours on end. Hours. That's how much I love Mike Leach. So he's my favorite coach in all of football as far as entertainment goes. My favorite coach not named Dabo as far as football goes? Man, that's a tough one. That's a real tough one. There's a bunch of them. I would probably say James Franklin from Penn State. Also, what's the guy's name from Vanderbilt? I can't even think of his name right now. You know who I'm talking about, though. Oh, Jesus, what's his name? Anyway, you know who I'm talking about. But I love that guy. Derek Mason, thank you. Mason. Yeah, I love Derek Mason. If you watch a press conference with Derek Mason after a game, I mean, this guy makes me want to put on shoulder pads and a helmet and go out there and hit some people and get my head block knocked off. I love that guy. Saban, I do actually like Saban. Yes, I do. I'm not a Saban hater. I'm not an Alabama hater. As much as people want me to be, I'm not. You said Mullen can't recruit. We're already top 10. Mullen's going down as one of the greatest coaches of all time. George, I did not say that Mullen can't recruit. What are you talking about? Don't put words in my mouth, George. You know me long enough, sir. Oh, I do. You know what? That's another one. Bradley. I like Lane Kiffin too, as far as entertainment goes. I didn't say Mullen couldn't recruit. What I said was the knock on Mullen is that he can't recruit. That's not my opinion. That's the public opinion, is that he can't recruit. So I didn't say it. I was just regurgitating what I'm hearing. Oh, T asks, what's my favorite SEC school? Now that is something I've never been asked before. My favorite, now my first reaction to that would be I hate them all equally, but that's definitely not true. That's definitely not true because I don't hate them all equally. Because we all know South Carolina is at the very bottom of that list. I mean, there's nobody I hate more than them in the SEC or anywhere, really. Now, the answer to this might shock you, or it might not. I mean, and whatever, who cares? My favorite SEC school is Arkansas. And that doesn't really have anything to do with football so much. It has to do with the fact that when I was growing up, my best friend when I was in grade school and in high school, his family was Arkansas fans. They were from Arkansas. They actually live there now. He actually lives in Fayetteville, and I've been there. I've been there to visit him, and I went to Arkansas baseball game, which was awesome, by the way. I've been on Arkansas's campus, and so I think just the personal connection with them for all those years. And going over to his house on the weekends when I was a kid, and they would be watching Arkansas football every weekend, and them take me to Arkansas football games and baseball games as a kid, made me like Arkansas. But that's the only reason. So the answer is Arkansas. Billy Dawson says, I figured that I was thinking because of Chad Morris. No, it has nothing to do with Chad Morris. It really, I mean, now that actually is like some icing on the cake. So now I can actually root for Arkansas because of that reason that I just told you, and because of Chad Morris. But yeah, I mean, listen, here's the real answer. I'm not a fan of any SEC team, period. I'm really not a fan of any team other than Clemson. I mean, but if I had to pick one, it would be Arkansas. Crowing Cock. Good afternoon to you, sir. He asks, second favorite school in the state of South Carolina. Now, this is why I'm doing this stream. These are great questions. Oh. I would have to say the College of Charleston because I was born and raised in Charleston. I live in Charleston. So I would have to say Charleston. I mean, the Citadel is also in Charleston. I mean, the Citadel's campus and College Charleston campus are less than a mile apart as the crow flies. So a military school would be a Citadel, and then non-military school would be the College of Charleston. The Citadel is a powerhouse, keeping it close with Alabama. No, the Citadel keeping it close with Alabama for whatever, a quarter and a half, 2 quarters. That pales in comparison to the Citadel going into Columbia a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and beating the Gamecocks at home. What's up, the new Miami? Good afternoon to you, sir. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic. And I already know that you are. Duck Empire asks, how did you come up with the name Pigskin Pete? Now, that is something I've never been asked before, honestly. What's up, the new Miami? That's a great question, Duck Empire. Something that nobody's ever asked me. As a matter of fact, most people that come on this YouTube channel automatically assume that my name is Pete, which it's not. My name's not Pete in real life. I mean, some of you guys know that. Some of you that have met me don't know my name's not Pete. But so when I was coming up with a YouTube name, I wanted to come up with something football related, obviously, since it's a football related channel. And I was thinking, what sounds like football to anybody who's going to be searching it on the internet or otherwise. Pigskin. Now, I'm not going to say what my real name is in real life on here, but my real name in real life does not rhyme with pigskin. It doesn't sound good. If you put pigskin and then my real name in line with each other, it sounds terrible. It sounds stupid. Nobody would ever watch that. Then I was thinking something that sounds similar, something that starts with a P, obviously. And then I was thinking about Pistol Pete. Now, there's different Pistol Petes throughout history. There was a Pistol Pete who was a NBA player who was very famous. And I want to say that was maybe in the 70s? That Pistol Pete was an NBA player. There was also a very infamous murderer in New York City. He was a crime boss. His name was Pistol Pete. This guy, he died on death row, I think. But he killed like 50 people. Or he was charged with like 50 murders. Pistol Pete. And so that's how I came up with it. It was a mix between Pigskin and Pistol Pete, and it came out Pigskin and Pete. And I spelled it with 2 E's. The reason I spelled it with 2 E's was actually so that people would know that my real name wasn't Pete, because, I mean, if your name is Pete, who spells it with 2 E's? Nobody does. That's how that came up. It's Pete Maravich. Thank you. That's his name. So there you go. That's how it came up. I mean, I literally came up with the name for my YouTube channel, Pigskin Pete, within like 5 minutes. And it just stuck. Vodka Drinker says, I don't know why more assistants aren't like Venables. Some guys are not just cut out for the head coach job. He's in a perfect situation and comfort zone. I would have to agree. If you know any Oklahoma fans, they'll probably tell you this story. When Venables left Oklahoma, he actually gave a statement, whatever his public statement was. And he said that he had aspirations of becoming a head coach, and that going somewhere like Clemson gave him the best opportunity to do that. That was one of his statements. And so ever since Venables came to Clemson, I always had the assumption and the belief that it was a stepping stone for him, sort of like Chad Morris, because Chad Morris, when he came to Clemson, he never really had any intention of staying there for any extended period of time. He was a high school coach in Texas, but he wanted to make a step. He always wanted to be a head coach in college. And so he stayed at Clemson long enough to make that happen. And of course, SMU came along in his home state, and he jumped right on it. But I always thought that Venables was going to leave Clemson within a few years of success there. And what I've come to believe now over the past couple of seasons is that I don't think that Venables has any intention of leaving anytime soon anyway. You never say never. He's not an old guy. He may leave eventually for a head coaching job, but when you're the highest paid assistant in all of football and college football, his kids go there, and he seems to love his job. And I'm not sure, quite frankly, that Brent Venables is head coach material. If he did leave and went and took a head coaching job somewhere, I mean, I would be a fan. I wish him the best. But I don't see it happening anytime soon. And I don't know why it would leave. So I agree with you. SEC dog. How can they move when they're cold-blooded in freezer water? I call BS. Maybe one lucked up and froze that way. I don't even have a clue what the hell you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Danny Reeves. That's a hell of a name. I'm just going to sit back here and read these comments until I see a comment that I want to answer. I just said I went offline. Glow in the house. Good afternoon to you, sir. It says, Pigskin Pete, trivia question. Trevor Lawrence became the second freshman quarterback to start on a national championship team. Who was the first quarterback to do so? Glow, I actually do know the answer to that. I don't know the guy's name. But I do know he was the quarterback from Oklahoma, and I think the year was 1985, if I'm not mistaken. So you can tell me what his name was, but I know it was the Oklahoma quarterback in 1985. Michael Sachs Jr. Will they sit Cam Newton all year? Well, if they do, the season's over. I don't think they're going to. You never know what to believe when it comes to their what they say about these surgeries. He had a surgery yesterday, I guess, and they said he's going to be ready for OTAs, but who knows? Good afternoon, Catfish. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic, which I already know you are. And everybody, please, if you have a heart or a soul or anything in between, make sure you keep Catfish and his son Sam in your prayers. His son Sam has leukemia, and he's fighting it. And I have no doubt in my mind, as sure as I'm sitting here before you on YouTube, that his son will beat this. But keep him in your prayers. Catfish is a good dude. He's my boy. SEC Dog says, why would they sit Cam Newton? Because he just had a shoulder surgery. His second one in like the past 3 years or whatever. Yes, you are amazing and fantastic. Mr. You Mad Bruh asks, Pigskin, have you talked to Bobby Durkins lately? Yes, I have. I talk to Bobby probably about once a week. Now, if I told you what we talked about, I'd have to kill you. So, don't ask what we talked about. It's very important business. Yeah. NASA CGI snakes. Listen, that's... that reminds me. Thank you for reminding me, sir. This is a good time to remind everybody NASA CGI Snakes coming through with a $2 super chat, says prayers for catfish. And yes, I don't know how else to put that. But NASA CGI Snakes is now. Don't try to write when you're drinking. That does not work, by the way. NASA CGI Snakes now has 4 entries into the Super Chat contest. The Super Chat contest is going to last for the next 5 weeks. For every $1 you donate through Super Chat, you get 1 entry into the contest, and NASA CGI Snakes has now donated $4, and so now he has 4 entries. And he's running away with this thing. If he's the only one that donates, then he's getting it. So that's the way that works. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yeah, my wife and I were talking about catfish and his son. Well, last night and tonight, actually. It's really unimaginable for anybody that has kids. I have 2 kids. I have a son that's about his son's age who has leukemia, and I have a much younger son. I have a 3-year-old too. And to imagine anything, them going through something like what he's going through it's really. I can't imagine it. I mean, I just can't. And so it's, I feel for you, man. And I feel for him, and I feel for all your family. What's up, Dondre Crawford? Good afternoon to you, sir. Glow asks, what's your opinion on the NFC Championship controversy with the no call? That was absolute garbage. Well, Glow, you have not been watching the Pigskin Pete YouTube channel if you're asking me that question. I went way, way down the rabbit hole, sir. Against my better judgment, I decided to actually turn the camera on and make videos talking about that. And I knew when I did it that I was going to at the point of no return with these NFL is rigged nuts that are out there. And there's a shitload of them, I promise you. I almost wish I didn't go down that rabbit hole, but I went down it. So, but if you want to know the answer to that question, go and watch those videos. Alan V coming through with the $20 super chat. Alan. What does he say? Alan V says, what is the prize, Pete? I love you, catfish. Well, the prize for the super chat contest that you're referring to is a T-shirt of your choice, or my choice, actually, a nice T-shirt of your team, which obviously you're a Georgia fan. And depending on how many people participate in this super chat contest, it'd probably be a T-shirt and a gift card, a Visa gift card. So you just got 20 entries, sir. And with a 20 entries, you are well in the lead. But it only takes one to win. I mean, the guy that donates 99 cents might be the guy that wins this. But I will do the drawing live on air on March 1st. So it's about 5 weeks from now. I'm logging every dollar that everybody sends me, and I will do a drawing on March 1st. And listen, Alan V, thank you, sir. Billy Dawson coming through. My man, Billy Dawson, coming through with a $5 chat. So he gets 5 entries. Billy Dawson, if this guy couldn't support me more than he already does, but he's doing it now. He's one of the original Patreon members. And he's a Tier 3 Patreon member, by the way. Billy Dawson is my man. He says, do you think Clemson will have a rebuild with with the loss of all the defensive players? That's a good question, Billy. And the answer to that is no, I don't. The defensive line, obviously, when you lose 4 starters off the defensive line to the NFL, there's no replacing that immediately. I think the saving grace for Clemson is that the fact that they do play in the ACC. Week 2 against A&M might be a test. But listen, you're talking about the roster of Clemson. You have 5 stars across the board on the defensive line, replacing those guys that we all know about. The talent is there. So there's not going to be a talent drop-off. There's only going to be an experience drop-off. But I think, let's see, at least 3 of the 4 guys that are going to be starting next year on Clemson's defensive line are not going to be freshmen. They're going to be guys that have been on the team. And especially Xavier Thomas and KJ Henry have had meaningful snaps. And yes, I think that experience is going to be lacking, but talent won't. And I don't think there will be a huge drop-off. And I actually think by the end of next season, what you're going to see is especially people like Xavier Thomas and KJ Henry will be household names. Xavier Thomas is an absolute freak of a player. He's better. I don't want to say better because he hasn't played long enough to say he's better, but talent-wise, he's better than anybody that was on Clemson's defensive line this year, and that's saying a lot. Clemson is loaded, basically. And thank you, Billy, for the super chat. I appreciate it, sir. So we have NASA CGI Snakes with a $4, 4 entries in the super chat contest. We have Alan V coming through with a massive $20 entry, and Billy with a $5 entry. Thank all of you. Alan V says XXL. Is that your shirt size? If Miami could just cover the point spread against Clemson this year, that would be nice, says George. Yeah. Speaking of point spreads, so I don't bet on sports a lot. But so at the beginning of the bowl season, I haven't talked about this at all. At the beginning of the bowl season, I did one of these online betting websites. The one that Uncle Lou has on that advertises on his channel, betnow.eu. So I had a plan. That's what you want to call it. I went and deposited $30. $30, that's it. I went on the website and deposited $30 at the beginning of the bowl season. I didn't bet every single game, but I bet like 15 of them. Starting with $30. And then when I won the first one, I bet $60 and so on and so forth. You get the point here. I won. Get this. I won 13 out of 15 games I bet. And turned the $30 entry bet that I started with into like $750 on betnow.eu. Now, I'm not saying that's because I'm amazing and fantastic, even though I am, and because I know everything about football, but I just happened to pick the right games and pick the right thing. And it was amazing that I won all that. Now, so what I did was I went ahead and cashed out most of that because, I got bills to pay. But I did leave $100 in my account for the Super Bowl. And I'm putting that $100 on New England. Anybody who's bets, put your money on New England. What's the spread now? Does anybody know? Whenever it opened, it was like a 1.5. I think it went up after that. Anything less than 3 points, put it on New England. I'd be willing to bet any amount of money that I was willing to bet on New England to win this Super Bowl. Period. 2.5. I bet 2.5. Anything less than 3. I would probably actually even bet 3, but not 3.5. 3's pushing it, but 2.5. I'd bet that all day. I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting till like a day before to place the bet. I want it to go down even more. Anything 2.5. I might do that though. I'll go check it after I get off here. See you later, Clemson Carson. Well, yeah. Whenever I started betting on the bowls, I told my stepfather was over here for the holidays, and I was like, I'm just gonna put in $30, and if I lose the $30, I'm gonna lose the $30. But if I said I'm just gonna keep betting on the $30 until the bowl season's over. And there was a point I won like 11 bets in a row, just betting all of it. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, literally, if I had been betting like thousands of dollars, like I would have won like $250,000. That's how much I was winning in a row. But of course, I don't have that kind of money. I was willing to lose $30, but I wasn't willing to lose, massive amounts of money or anything. One good thing about being a Gator is if you can be arrogant and not worry about anything because my team backs me up. Listen, you should never, ever apologize about being a fan of a team, George. So, I mean, is there anybody more arrogant than me? Well, I'm sure there are people that are more arrogant than me. But you got to be a real arrogant son of a bitch to come on YouTube and talk about your team 24 hours a day. And so, listen, being arrogant about your team, I sympathize with you. I don't look down upon that. Bradley Aaron says, I try not to bet Super Bowls. Last time I did, I lost 200 on Atlanta. Well, that's because you bet on Atlanta, sir. Yeah. Pete, can you be my bookie with that impressive bowls? No. Listen, did you watch my videos that I did about Vegas bets throughout the season? I mean, I will say this. I was over 50%, so I wasn't terrible. I mean, but I was barely over 50%. I mean, I was like maybe 52%. I mean, so no. I mean, I'm not an expert on betting. I'm not an expert on any of that. I just literally got lucky. I mean, that's it. Pure luck. I'm not claiming any sort of genius when it comes to what I did during bowl season. It was pure luck. The first 3 games Clemson pass is going to be good. I think you mean the first 3 games Clemson has is going to be good. Right. So week 1's Georgia Tech. Week 2 is A&M. Week 3 is who's week 3? We do have 3 good games the first 3 weeks. You're right. Who's week 3? Remember. George says, I'm so happy we get to play Miami on opening day. I mean, we can't even possibly express my happiness. That's going to be one of the biggest games of the week. That I would be surprised if that's where game day was, week 1. What are the other big games week 1? So you have Alabama plays Duke, right? And that'll be the kickoff game for the ACC and SEC that Alabama does every year. You'll have Florida, Miami. What's the other big game week 1? Oh, Syracuse. Thank you. What's the other big game week 1? I mean, it's got to be Miami and Florida. It's got to be the biggest one, right? Oregon and Auburn. That's another big one. Okay. That might be where game day is. Be interesting to see where game day is. I'd be willing to bet that the game day is going to be Florida and Miami over Oregon and Auburn, even though Auburn and Oregon might be a more interesting matchup, honestly. Oklahoma and Houston. No, come on, sir. Oklahoma and Houston's not intriguing. It's not. I mean, the only reason that's intriguing is to see Jalen Hurts at Oklahoma. Other than that, it's not interesting at all. All right, guys. Literally, I could sit here and do this for hours, but my computer's about to die. So, thanks everybody for stopping in. Listen, I don't even know how much to thank NASA CGI Snakes, Alan V, and Billy Dawson coming through with the super chats. So you guys are all entered into the super chat contest. Also, anybody that signs up over the next 5 or 6 days now for the Patreon page, you'll be entered into that contest. That contest runs through February 1st. And everybody that signs up for that will be entered into a different contest for a $50 Visa gift card. And I'll be doing a live drawing for both the Super Chat contest and the Patreon contest. So thank you. Thank all of you for that. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you guys tonight. Next week, I'm having on Mark Dudley from Michigan, a Michigan fan, to talk about the state of the Michigan program and Jim Harbaugh. And man, I couldn't tell you how much I'm looking forward to doing that. So big shout out to Mark Dudley. He's not here tonight, but big shout out to Mark Dudley because, man, I give Michigan a hard time, and Mark Dudley's been a trooper, and he's also a moderator of mine. But thank all of you. It's been a lot of fun sitting around drinking beer with you. If you drink liquor, if that's your thing, more power to you. Wine coolers are not allowed on here. If anybody comes on here and tells me they're drinking a wine cooler, you are immediately banned from the Pigskin and Pete YouTube channel for life. But thank everybody. Thanks to Alan B, Dennis Wilson. Sports Live in Atlanta's in here. He says, "What's up? Happy Friday, Pete. Good afternoon to you, sir. I'm sure if you're here, you're amazing and fantastic," which I already know that you are. Dr. Winston in the house. All right. I got to go because literally my thing's about to shut down. Thanks for all the donators. Thanks for everybody for stopping in. You guys are all amazing, and you're all fantastic. You already know that. Have a great night. I'll see you very, very soon. Pixie and Pete checking out.